Your main character can only do one of 5 things. If they try to do 2 or more, or if they aren't doing any of the 5, and those 5 things are all part of plot. If you're gonna take the time to tell a story, then tell a story that matters. There are 5 core elements of every story: character, conflict, theme, setting, and plot. And today is all about plot. But the thing you have to remember is that plot is a result of character, not the other way around. Many writers try to figure out the plot and then shoehorn a character into it. And also realize that plot is not the same thing as premise, the big idea of the story. Plot is all of the stuff that happens along the way, and if you're crafting the plot without considering the character, you're gonna have problems there, Skippy. So to get at a proper plot, you have to start with the character. And if you know it, say it out loud wherever you're at, and if people are around you, let them think you're crazy, because, well, you're a writer and we're all a little bit crazy. A story is about someone who wants something badly, they're having trouble getting it, and they get it or they don't. That's what a story is, and notice we start with someone, the main character. Are there stories with more than one main character? Well, yes, but those are the exception and not the norm. And that someone is after something they want, and they want it badly, and they get it or they don't. That means they are pursuing, over the course of your story, over the course of the plot, a tangible, measurable, and viable goal. The character knows what they are after. The audience knows what the character is after, so we can root for them. And we know why the character goes here or there, or why they do this or that, because we know the tangible, measurable, and viable goal they are pursuing. And to break that down, a tangible goal means there is some sort of physicality to it. So whether it's a trophy, a bag of money, a vial of medicine, a hidden treasure, a secret formula, a job promotion, a paradise, or any host of other things, it has to be tangible. And it has to be measurable, meaning we can see the value of the thing. A story about a musician who wants to be a rock star, that's not measurable. I mean, how do you know if someone is a rock star or not? You can't know. There's no measurable thing. You don't get a token or a badge or something. There's nothing. But a story about a musician who wants to perform in Carnegie Hall, okay, that's measurable. We can see if they get it. We know if they get it or not. And the measurable element helps the audience know if they get it or not. And the goal has to be viable, meaning it has to be achievable within the confines of the story. So if our musician wants to perform in Carnegie Hall, but all we see them do over the course of the movie is to get signed to a record label, okay, you've made the goal not viable for your story. The goal has to be achievable by your main character within your story. Not implied, not hinted at, and definitely not hoped for. Achieved or not, they get it or they don't, but they have to at least have a shot at achieving it. Now, this doesn't mean it can't be hard. It's supposed to be hard. It might even seem impossible to them. It just means that they still have to have a shot at making it within the scope of your story. And if your character doesn't have a viable, measurable, or tangible goal, well, you're done before you even start, because your story's plot will go nowhere. It will have no direction. But if there's a goal, well, now you have something to aim at. Your character has something to aim at, and they have to actively pursue that goal, or they have to actively try to avoid pursuing that goal. But here's the thing, there are only 5 viable goals in any story. Yep, just 5. Eric Edson notes 4, but I'm adding one because I think he left one on the table. So our plan here is simple. I'm gonna go through each of the 5 tangible, measurable, and viable goals, talk about the types of stories that each of those goals encompass, and then I'm gonna give you some critical things to keep in mind which will vastly help your plots. So here are the 5 goals. The first 4 are Eric Edson's, the last 5 is mine. Win, stop, escape, retrieve, and balance. Now let me pull these apart a little bit. Goal number 1, win. You might also think of this one as gain. It involves any type of competition or race, which might be against other people, but the race can also be against time. So a game, or a race, car race, horse race, snowboard race, boxcar derby race, whatever. A battle over something, whether that something is literal or metaphorical.
That still only counts as one.
Many rom-coms employ this win goal as one character trying to win the heart of another character, and they either get together at the end or they don't. When someone is trying to win a specific job, maybe, or promotion, they are competing with others to get the job or the promotion. And winning is probably one of the most common goals your main characters can have. And that's because whatever they are competing for is a valuable, measurable, tangible goal. I mean, it's a specific thing. And whether it's Rocky trying to win a fight or Ken Miles trying to win Le Mans,
Bloody door won't close!
all right, okay, they're all about winning. Goal number 2, stop. Now this one you can also think of as preventing something from happening. The characters are trying to stop an event or prevent another character from doing something. So Jack Travern is trying to stop Howard Payne from blowing up a bus. In World War Z, Brad Pitt's character is trying to stop a worldwide disease. Or any detective movie trying to stop a serial killer or bank robber or whomever from doing whatever it is that they're planning to do. This would include stories about preventing bombs from going off, stopping thieves from robbing a vault, stopping a convict from escaping, stopping a madman from doing madman things, or a host of other things that can be lumped in here. The main element is the protagonist is trying to stop someone from doing something tangible, measurable, viable, something. Okay? Most often in these stories, the protagonist isn't actually able to stop the antagonist, although they often do end up catching the antagonist as a result. So they lose, but they also eventually stop the antagonist and kind of win, sort of, but stop. Goal number 3, escape. And a subcategory of escape is survive. So any story where the protagonist is trying to get away from someone or something is what we're talking about here. A plane crashes and the survivors are stuck on an island, but they want to escape. An individual is wrongly sent to prison, and the only way they can get their life back is to escape. Maybe someone is in an abusive relationship and they have to escape from that relationship. Or perhaps there's a volcano that's about to erupt, or a horrible storm, or a blizzard, or earthquake, or the end of the world, and people are just trying to escape and find some place of safety. Or maybe it's a small town, and our protagonist is trapped and just wants to leave. And most of us love a good escape movie, in part because escape movies are comforting to us, because that's what we're doing when we're watching a movie. We are escaping from our normal everyday life. So we like these kinds of movies, and if escape isn't viable, okay, that's a hopeless movie. No one wants to watch that. The escape has to be viable. And if there isn't a clear place to escape to, that's a movie or show that's an exercise in futility. So it's still gotta be a measurable, tangible goal. There's still gotta be a place to escape to, or somewhere to get away from. Goal number 4, retrieve. Now you can also frame this one as the protagonist trying to acquire something. So they are pursuing an item or items that was taken from them, so they're retrieving them, or they learn of something they don't have, but that they really want, and so they set out trying to acquire it. So any kind of treasure hunt movie falls into this type of plot. The main character is going after the treasure, or the MacGuffin, or the kidnapped victim, or the hostage, or an elixir, or a lost ark, or a bunch of infinity stones. It doesn't matter. They're trying to retrieve or acquire something. Goal number 5, balance. Now this goal tends to revolve around issues of justice and fairness and retribution and vengeance. And it's about balancing the scales, or put another way, dispensing to others what is due to them and what they have coming to them. So the courts didn't do their job, but a vigilante will balance the scales, or someone learns about past secrets and they will expose those secrets to topple the one in power and dispense to them what they have coming. Some balance stories mean the protagonist will choose to sacrifice themselves to bring balance, or a character will choose exile to protect someone they care about. I mean, maybe the story is about one character reconciling with another and being allowed to come home again. Balance stories are often about fairness or righting actual or perceived wrongs. So let's take an example that you're probably familiar with. John Wick. Now, John Wick is all about balancing the scales at the end of the day. And in John Wick, balance doesn't just extend to what John is trying to do. So he's trying to kill Vigo's son for killing his dog. But all the business with markers and coins and being equitable and fair and having neutral ground at the Continental, that's all about equity and fairness and balance. I mean, balance permeates the whole story, including the main goal of the protagonist. And what you have to do is ensure your main character is doing one of these 5 goals. Now, it doesn't matter which one, but they must be doing one of them, because if they aren't, well, you have no plot. Your plot is going to be derived by how the character pursues their viable, tangible, measurable goal. And if they have no goal, there's nothing to pursue and you have no plot. In fact, the viable, tangible, measurable goal is what holds your second act together. It's what the protagonist is trying to do in the second act. But there's a couple of critical things you need to do along with making sure your protagonist has a viable, tangible, measurable goal. Before I get to those critical things, I want to mention something that is completely free that you can take advantage of. It's called Jumpstart, and it's 30 days of writing prompts and exercises to get you writing every day for 30 days. If you want to hone your habit or create a habit of writing every day, but you aren't sure what to write about, or you just need some prompting to help you establish the habit, okay, then jumpstart your writing. A link is below for that with more information, and it's 100% free. No catch, no strings, no nothing, 100% free. Be sure to take advantage of that. There are also additional links below that will help you begin to master the craft of screenwriting. They're only for people serious about mastering the craft though. So if that's you, be sure to check them out. 3 critical things to keep in mind about plot and the goals of characters. Number 1, don't forget that the audience has to know if the character gets the goal or not. You can't imply whether the character succeeds or not. The audience has to see it. The job is offered. The cash is removed from the vault. The bomb is defused. Vengeance is doled out. The crash survivor makes it off the island. We have to see it. So make sure we see it. The second critical thing for plot and characters is many movies have the protagonist pursuing one goal in Act 1, a different goal in Act 2, and a completely new goal in Act 3. And this is perfectly fine, and actually a better story and plot choice. So back to John Wick. In Act 1, John Wick is trying to escape the pain he feels after the death of his wife. Act 2 is him seeking balance. Act 3 is John trying to win the war with Vigo. Having different goals in different sections of your story is preferred over having the character pursue the same type of goal over and over and over again. We don't like repeating things in movies. And if the character is trying to escape and then escape and then escape, okay, the movie starts to feel like it's the same thing over and over and over, and that's not always the best option. Critical thing number 3, unless you are using the win goal, so you're using one of the other 4, you generally don't want your protagonist and antagonist pursuing the same type of goal. For example, Thanos is trying to retrieve all of the Infinity Stones, while the Avengers are trying to stop him from doing so. So giving differing goals to protagonists and antagonists allows for richer stories and a deeper sense of conflict. But even if you do all of those things, you've got a viable, measurable, tangible goal, you're using one of the 5, you've got that working, but honestly, that might not be enough. What your plot might need is a character upgrade. Maybe you're not just missing a viable, tangible, and measurable goal. It might be that your characters are just bad and they need an overhaul. And if you want to massively level up your characters, you should watch this video right here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget about all of the buttons and links below, especially Jumpstart, which is free. And when you tell a story that matters. See you later.